Trick or treat, everyone. How are you doing? My name is Lindsay, and I am with Perfectly Pastry. Who's Perfectly Pastry? We're a local bakery in Waterloo, Illinois. First of all, I have to spit that out properly because I was stumbling through that. Look, now you can see me. I was like, why is it so dark? I like thought the sun was coming in weird or something. No, it's just because my computer, I had to I keep on my phone, on my computer, I keep the light real low. It drives my husband crazy. I'm always like squinting. He's like, if you turn the light up, you'd see that better. And I always forget I need to do that on my laptop. So, hi guys, I am Lindsay. And if this is the first time you've ever caught me live, use a heart. Let me know if this is the first time you ever caught me live. If you're watching me on replay, use hashtag replay. And, if you're watching me live, use a heart. If this is the first time you caught me live, use a 1. I was obviously a little distracted while I was going through my intro. It's so funny because, a couple of months ago, I told you guys, I'm going to start these, hooks, right? I'm going to intro with a hook and then go into my spiel. And I've been trying to use the, hook as my title and all of these things, right? So I was going to put, and I probably shouldn't, but I would love to hear your opinions in the comments if you would stop to watch it and be like, oh my gosh, this girl is crazy. So I was gonna be like, smell my feet, anyone? And I was like, oh yeah, don't say that. I guess that one's weird. I guess maybe you never know. I might have actually gotten quite a bit of people stopping and be like, smell your feet. What? Let me no. But I was like, if I did something like that, I'm curious to see how many of you would be like, this girl is straight up nuts. I mean, we all know I'm a little bit crazy and I can be super crazy on here and everything like that. But I was like, yes, that would be funny if I did that. Probably would not be funny. And then I was like, trick or treat. And then as I was so right before I hit everything, I running through my head, I'm gonna say, I prepped just a little bit so that I don't prep too much. I know what I want to talk about, but I try not to plan it out because then I'll stumble and I'll forget and I'll not do a great job, right? So I try to keep in my mind a basic outline of what I want to do. But usually I try to think of when I'm sitting down in front of the computer, what is my intro going to be? How am I going to lead it in? That elevator pitch, that 11-second pitch, right? That hook. And I was like, trick or treat. And I was like, wait, all I'm going to be is trick or treat. Hi, I'm Lindsay. And I was like, oh, that might be weird. I don't even know what I said anymore because I was the timer was ticking down and I was still playing scenarios in my head of what I was going to say. I was like, maybe I should change it to happy Halloween, happy trick or treating. I'm like, oh no, time is running out. And then I just went with it. Whatever I said is off, really what I just I committed. I hardcore committed to that. But yes. So how is everybody doing now that I went into my crazy analytic? I was just analyzing it like crazy. I was like, oh, what am I gonna do? What am I gonna do? Yeah. Okay. All right, let's talk about some of the things I want to talk about. And then today I thought we would talk all about Halloween because Halloween is next week. Last week I went over some little activities that you could do with your kiddos, one of them being the shrunken heads. I love to do that with my kids. And then we were talking about carving pumpkins and stuff. And like I said, we have not carved our pumpkins. We have not bought our pumpkins. We're going to do that this weekend because if we carve them, then they go and when I say they mold, I know up north, I can leave my pumpkin out for a while and eventually it gets kind of moldy. No, we're talking crumbling in itself, squishy and black within a day or two. It's crazy. It is crazy. All right, so let's get some of the housekeeping out of the way. I don't want to say it like this because I'm actually really excited about what I'm about to tell you. Okay, so we are partnering with Burnt Silk and we are rolling out some t-shirts for our Grinchmas in the Lou. I'm so excited. They helped me design some shirts and they are fantastic. I am working on the final details with them on hosting them on our website so that people can pre-order them and things like that. So we should have that hopefully by the end of the week. So I'll start getting that information out to you guys. But yes, we have Grinchmas in the Lou shirts. We have 2 designs, short sleeve and long sleeve. And it was funny because when we were doing that, of course, I always buy short sleeve. I live in Florida. I don't buy a lot of long sleeves. Yes, it gets cold here and there are times that I need hoodies and things like that, but it's not typically something that I wear. And honestly, y'all know I go to Disney, right? And so one of my favorite things at Disney's are the jersey knit, the jerseys, the knit jerseys. I don't know if they're called jersey knits, knit jersey. I don't know, but they're plain jerseys and they're long sleeves and they have Disney across the back. And I love them, but they're $64. And I just cannot buy a $60 sweatshirt that I am really not going to wear that often, right? So of course, I'm designing these shirts and I'm picking out the t-shirts and all these things, and I only pick t-shirts. I did. I only picked t-shirts. And my mom and my sister were like, oh yeah, those are awesome. Like, should we do a long sleeve? And I was like, oh, you're right. Like, that would make a lot of sense. Like, it's not 80 degrees at Christmas time around you guys. Like, long sleeve would make sense. So we did throw in some long sleeve options as well. Now, my sister and I, we tend to be hot by nature. And so, like, both of us would have bought t-shirts, period. Like, that's just who we are. But I never even thought about long sleeves. So thank goodness my mom said something. So we will have t-shirt and long sleeve options. We have 2 different designs. I'm so excited. I cannot wait to show you guys. I don't have the information yet. Like I said, I'm working on the last bit of details, but I figured it's almost finalized and I was going on live. So I'm going to start talking about it anyway. So keep an eye on social media. Oh, look, this is the perfect time to do a plug. If you are watching us right now on Facebook, you should be liking and following us on Facebook as well. If you're watching this video on another platform and you're like, oh, I'd love to connect with you, we are on other social media. Facebook is the only one that we are at Perfectly Pastry Bakery. All the other social media, we are at Perfectly Pastry. Kapow, look at me put that plug in there. I'm like, kiddos. Yeah, so we will definitely be sharing out with you guys more information so that you can get a hold of your Grinchmas and the Lou t-shirt. Speaking of Halloween, my mom has been so kind, and she is actually going to be handing out candy for trick-or-treaters this year. And we're going to be doing it at the shop. So we're going to set up a little booth. We're weather permitting. We're going to hopefully have it outside. If not, then we'll bring it inside and we will put out our sign letting you guys know, like, come by, get free candy. Okay. So we wanted to give out candy for trick-or-treaters. My sister, she lives out in the country, so she can't really give out candy. I love getting out candy at my house. I'll go into that spiel in just a minute, right? Because I'm really gonna talk to you guys about my family and their trick-or-treating and their Halloween. But my mom was like, you know what? I can hand out candy. Maybe I'll hand it out at the shop. She's like, I don't get a whole lot of trick-or-treaters where she lives. So we're going to be handing out candy to the kiddos for Halloween at the shop. And it's great because right there on Main Street, there's all those houses and stuff. So if you are going to be trick-or-treating in Waterloo, then definitely stop by because we will be handing out candy as well. We'd love to see the kiddos. And with that in mind, we are now heading into November. I know it's crazy. Actually, it's kind of funny. So Monday was my anniversary. Love you, honey. And this past weekend, I was working on orders and stuff like that. And we had an order coming up November 5th. And I like panicked. I was like, oh no, that's this weekend. Like I wasn't, or like this upcoming weekend, I didn't have it in the production schedule. Like I started panicking. My mom was like, what are you talking about? That's November 5th. And I'm like, yeah, that's next weekend. She's like, no, Lindsay, like it is only the 24th on Monday. And I was like, oh. I was thinking it was Halloween this past Monday, which means I totally bypassed the fact that my anniversary was going to be on Monday. Like, totally forgot. My husband and I have been married for 15 years. So it was like, not that I don't love my husband. It was like, hey, it's our anniversary. And I like just bypassed it completely. I'm not going to lie. And it's because, I mean, we all know what it's like, right? When we're working or we're running businesses and stuff, we're always looking into the future, right? Like I had already written off the rest of October. We are almost done with November in my brain. I am moving into December and I've already started thinking about January. Like that's just what I have to do to be able to help the company run, like do marketing, come up with plans. Like I've already started looking like even further into the future and what we can do and cycle things through. Like that's just how I work. Totally bypassed it. Totally. So just so you know, if you weren't aware, like me, Halloween is on Monday. My kids, it's so funny because my kids have school like everybody else on Halloween, but we actually have a virtual day the following day, which sounds great in theory, but I'm going to tell you now, I hate virtual days. I'd rather just send them to school. I'm not gonna lie. I'd rather be like, you know what? I don't want to do that. Just keep them. But my kids are excited because then if we stay out late trick-or-treating, they don't have to be up early, right? And virtual days are not hard in the sense that like the kids have to be logged on at this time and logged out. I forgot to put my lid on my marker. They don't have to be logged in at this time and then log out at a specific time. They just have to like complete tasks for the day. But my middle child can never stay on task. My younger child, like she's only in first grade, and my eldest, I don't even know what they do in high school. Last year when she was in middle school, when they were doing like the virtual days, it was actually kind of interesting. It would be things like how to budget. Like you had a budget and you had to like buy groceries for the week and pay your electric and like learn about savings and compounding interest. So I thought that was actually pretty interesting. So I'm unsure what she will be like doing in high school level, but we'll see. With that being said, because that was a total tangent, the holidays are just around the corner. They will be here sooner than you think. Trust me, I am very aware of that. In fact, like I've already, like I said, I've already moved past Thanksgiving. We've already had Thanksgiving dinner. We're ready to open up Christmas gifts. Yeah, no, but that's how it works for me. So I just want to remind everybody that the holiday menu is officially out. You can go to our website and check out our menus. We have our 2022 is not 2020, our 2022 holiday menu on our website for you guys if you're interested. I know that we have a 7-day notice when it comes to booking our orders, our custom orders, but I want to let you know when the holidays come around, there are times that we have to turn orders away. We get way too many orders. We can't get them all delivered in certain days. So if you are wanting to book something for the holidays, I highly suggest that you do it sooner than later because it is really hard for us to sometimes accommodate those last minute orders. Now, with that being said, we try to have options for you to come in, grab last minute because we all, things get ahead of us, way ahead of us. And we're like, oh no, we need something. We all do that, right? So we do carry things in the shop that you'll be able to just grab, go, and be able to get there to those dinners with no problems. But if you're like, oh, I really wanted something ahead of time, we are going to highly suggest that you go ahead and place orders sooner than later to ensure that you can secure that date. Okay. All right. So let's talk about Halloween. I love Halloween. My kids love Halloween. Now, don't get me wrong. Christmas is my favorite. I have a lot of memories around Christmas. I love Christmas, but I love Halloween a lot too. I love to dress up. I'm not one of those. So like my husband and I differ in this. Like my husband loves to go buy the costume to have a really well put together costume. I don't like that. I think that's cheating. Like when he's like, let's go and we'll like okay. I'll just tell you what we do because we're nerds. We go to Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween party. And when we do, so like that's the Halloween party that Disney hosts. And when we do, we like to go as like themed characters. I'm going to tell you guys, we did not do that this year. We went this year and we were totally not themed. We were all last minute, like scrambling like the week before we left. So we met some friends up there. We probably found our costumes Tuesday night, maybe Wednesday. They're mowing outside, so if y'all can hear that, I'm so sorry. So yeah, we were totally last minute. So besides this year, we typically like put our costumes together and like we go to the Renaissance Fair in the summertime, and I love that. I love doing costumes. So I thought today I would share with you guys some of the costumes that we have done over the years. So my husband loves to do Halloween. Those of you who are in Waterloo, you've heard of Six Flags. Some other people I was surprised to find out has never heard of Six Flags. So Six Flags is like an amusement park in the St. Louis area. There's some in Texas. I'm sure there's some other places. I've been to the ones in Texas and the one in St. Louis. Oh, and there's one in Gurnee, Illinois. Love that one. So my husband did Fright Fest for years. For Halloween, and that's like their Halloween thing, and like you go after hours like in the dark, and he worked there during Fright Fest and worked on the haunted train ride. And so like Halloween and scaring people are like really just his thing. So then when we moved back by my family, my husband, well actually when my eldest was really, really young, my husband wanted to like decorate our driveway and scare people. And so we had like this caution tape and we had like this red light, and my husband had our rental car because he had gotten into a car accident. So he had a rental car and it was a Dodge Charger. So we like pulled it up to the porch and we had this like red light and like all these fog machines. And my husband was just standing there. And then when people walked up, he'd like start up his chainsaw, right? And he scared the crap out of some teenagers. That it was a girl and her boyfriend, and the boyfriend took off running, hit the ground, stood up, and then ran into the back of the car trying to get away from my husband. It's really funny. And then like my husband that year he did is it called like Strangers? I don't do haunted movies. And like scary movies. I told you guys that before, and I don't do haunted houses, which is funny that I like Halloween. It's just the dressing up that I like. But I can't remember, like Strangers or whatever. Like he like had that costume. And then one year he dressed up when we moved back home, like towards my family. He dressed up in a clown suit, and our neighbor we found out was like petrified of clowns. And so her family came over and was like, oh my gosh, can you please come scare the crap out of her? And she was like coming around the corner of my house, and my husband came out of the bushes at her, and she like didn't physically drop her kid. She like let go of her kid's hand and like took off down the street screaming. We did it at another cousin's house one time. My husband had his clown suit on, and some of the moms from my daughter's hockey team came up, and they were like highly petrified of clowns. And my like husband went up to their window and was like calling their name because he knew them, but they didn't know who he was. And he scared the crap out of them. Then my kids love to dress up. They have morph suits, so they dress up in morph suits, which means like their face is covered, their hair is covered, their hands are covered, everything is covered, and you blend in really, really well with your surrounding. And they'll like hide on the ground and jump up and scare kids. Like they absolutely love it. And so like we really, really do get into Halloween. And so Mickey's Not So Scary though is like where we typically dress up for our costumes. And I'll just go through some of them that we went through because now I'm like, I had so much that I had to talk about in the beginning that I don't even get to talk about Halloween like I wanted, but it's okay. Before COVID happened, I don't know if I still get dinged for saying that, right? Before the shutdown happened, we went as the Muppets. So my daughter went as Kermit, I went as Miss Piggy, my husband went as Wardolph and Animal. My other one went as Animal and Fozzie. So my middle one was Fozzie. So that was fun. One time we went as attractions at Disney. So I was Country Bear Jamboree. So I was Trixie from Country Bear Jamboree. If you know what that is, you should totally look it up. By the way, I like completely made like a fuzzy bear tank top to wear. And like, I love to wear costumes, but I don't sew. So I have to find some workarounds. This one I tied like a tank top. Is a lot of fun. One daughter was the Tiki Room. Like she had all Tiki Room themed out. One daughter was Splash Mountain. So she had like all themed out with Splash Mountain. I don't remember what my husband was. I don't know. I don't know what he was. That's so mean to me. I don't remember what he represented. And then my other daughter did Haunted Mansion. One year we went as villains. That one was probably my favorite. My one daughter went as Maleficent, and I made like horns out of electrical tape, and I made like a staff for her, and we painted her green. And one went as Scar, and we like, oh my gosh, I meticulously picked apart yarn to create the mane. I do not suggest that to anybody. It was a lot of work. I made like octopus legs for my daughter, like she was a baby at the time because she was Ursula. I went as Queen of Hearts, and my husband went as Doofenshmirtz. I'm like, thanks for keeping up with the theme. I mean, technically it's a villain, but it wasn't like a classic Disney villain like the rest of us. But yeah, we absolutely love Halloween. So I want to find out, what are you guys going to be for Halloween? You guys will probably see some pictures of us. I love to share out when we dress up for Halloween. So I'm curious, drop in the comments like what you guys are going to be. My one daughter, we got her she calls it a dino rancher. I don't know. And it's like one of those blow ups, and it's like a dinosaur, and she looks like she's riding him like a horse. We did go out and splurge and buy one of the big inflatable dinosaurs. My daughter wanted to be that last year. I got a high schooler this year, and this is the first year she's not going to be with us. She is going to go and trick or treat with her friend's house. I'm dropping her off at a completely different neighborhood. Yeah, I'm a little bummed. She's going as JD from the Heathers. So if any of you guys know that musical, her costume is JD, and her friend is going as, I think, Veronica. I don't quite remember, but I think it was Veronica that they were talking about going. So that's a lot of fun. My other daughter, she's completely wearing her morph suit again this year. She has a black and white morph suit, so it really blends in well. And like her goal is to scare as many kids as possible, to the point that when we were at the pumpkin drive-through last night at our school, there were several teachers like, are you going to be scaring people again this year? Because I'm going to totally stop by your house. So we have a couple teachers that live in the neighborhood, and they know that Madeline loves to jump out and scare people. Like it's her thing. And it's so funny because like my husband is chasing people with his chainsaw, and we have projections with like zombies and things like that. And then you have my youngest who's like, don't be afraid of them. Come get your candy. Like it's okay. And she's usually like a butterfly or something all cutesy. And she's like, don't worry about them. And she's like, Dad, you're scaring them. He's like, stop, you're ruining it. Dad, it's like, dude, stop that. And we get so many trick-or-treaters. Like every year we buy more and more candy, and every year I end up dumping the candy that my kids trick-or-treat back into the bowl to hand back out. Like it is crazy the amount of kids that live in our neighborhood. That's why we chose our neighborhood, right? Like we live in a retirement area. Like Naples is really known for retirement and stuff. And so it was really important to us that we found a neighborhood that accepted kids. And when we first started looking in here, they were just finishing the second playground and the second pool, and there were kids on the streets. Like we went to plenty of houses. I think we looked at like 14 houses in one day. There were not kids outside playing, right? I don't know. Maybe it was a school day now that I think back about it, but I'm pretty sure it was a weekend. It could have been a school day, but whatever the point is, there were not a lot of kids. We came here and we saw kids walking around, maybe because it was after school, kids walking around and all those things. They were finishing the playground and we were sold. And I couldn't be happier. My kids have all kinds of friends in our neighborhood. It's a gated community, so I don't have to worry about my like kids necessarily leaving. So like I know the people that are in my neighborhood. I know my neighbors. My kids run in and out of their houses and stuff. So yeah, we have lots of candy. Lots of candy. It's funny because we'll go to Mickey's Not So Scary and we'll get a bunch of candy there because, you know, we paid for the tickets and then you get a bunch of candy. We give that candy out. We buy bags of candy. My kids trick or treat and then I dump their candy back in our bags to give out. Yeah. So anyways, I haven't decided what I'm going to be. I usually like last minute choose something, but I would love to know and I'd love to get some ideas. What is it that you guys are going to go as Halloween? Drop it in the comments. Let me know. All right, you guys, I know it's 20 minutes. Like, girl, round it up. I got to get back to lunch. I know. I'm getting there. All right, you guys. Thank you so much for hopping on. If you are watching us on Facebook, make sure you're liking and following us on Facebook. If Facebook's not your jam and you're on other social media, come find us on other social media. Facebook is the only one that we are at Perfectly Pastry Bakery. All the others we are at Perfectly Pastry. And we hope to see you by the shop on Monday trick-or-treating. All right, you guys. Talk to you later. Bye.